Today, we introduce something new to the Sean Miller podcast, and that is the OKG Series. As you've seen throughout the Sean Miller podcast, you know what OKG means. Our kind of guy. It's the type of player that Sean Miller likes to recruit, the type of player that he wants to play for him in a Xavier uniform. Paul Fristchner, Adam Baum here with me, and what we are doing over the course of the next few weeks, months, and hopefully years, is taking a look back in time at former players that have played both for Sean and for other coaches at Xavier, and what those players learned while in a Xavier uniform, the players that played for Sean, what they learned playing for him, and what it means to be an OKG.
Yeah, and it's really a chance to catch up with these guys and see what they've been up to, what they've been doing. The first few guests that we have lined up, they're going to be guys who are trying to play overseas, who are currently playing overseas. So you get a life update, you get kind of a look back in the past, and you get some aspirations for the future.
These shows will feature just Adam and I talking to the player, mostly over a virtual format. They'll be shorter, maybe in the 10 to 15 minute range. And like Adam said, just a chance to catch up on where that player is in life, what it was like playing either at Xavier or at Arizona, if it's a former player for Sean that was a Wildcat, and to just hear about their experiences, how they're doing right now. And again, just to learn something from them, with the idea also being that some of these players may eventually be main guests on the Sean Miller podcast. Adam, this is a fun series. We've already recorded one of these that you're going to see here in just a minute. And looking forward, this gives us an opportunity to really shed some light on the history of these players.
Yeah, I get questions all the time. What's this guy up to? What's that guy up to? And this is an opportunity to go straight to the source and hear it from them. And I think it's cool to catch up with these guys, hear what they've been doing, and hear ultimately, like some of the guys that we're going to talk to, their basketball career is over. They've got real jobs. Maybe they've started their own business. So I think it's going to be cool to see the arc of their life and how it played out.
If you want the OKG definition straight from Sean, you can go back to the Sean Miller Podcast YouTube page. There is a clip in the show clips playlist, just what is an OKG. You can listen to it there. But welcome to the OKG series.
These are the types of players that fit us and the characteristics that allow them to be successful. OKGs, our kind of guys.
Paul Fristchner, Adam Baum, and our first guest of the OKG series, Jack Nunge. Jack, thank you for being the debut guest on this series. We wouldn't have wanted to start it any other way. It's great to talk to you. It's great to see you. You're playing overseas professionally right now in Italy, but after your career at both Iowa and Xavier, you did a lot in the college game, and now you're trying to experience that too in the professional game overseas. Great start to your professional career so far, and that's where I want to start with you, Jack, is just where you are, what you're doing, how you're doing, and how life is treating you right now.
Yeah, so I'm living in, I would say it's called Scafati. Basket is the program that I'm a part of, but basically it's in the south of Italy, pretty much in the Pompeii area, like the Pompeii ruins, Mount Vesuvius, that's all like right in my backyard. I can see the mountain every morning when I drive to practice. And it's been a really, really cool experience, just being a part of it, taking in the culture. Rome is just like an hour train ride away. And so I've gone there several times, and just like the history and just, experiencing another culture has been great so far.
Yeah, and what was the process like? Your career ends at Xavier, you decide to go the overseas professional route, and how prepared did you feel for this when it all unfolded? Like you get off the plane, and what's it like to get acclimated and try to play this sport overseas? Like I have so many questions, everything from like, does everyone on your team speak English? Does your coach speak English? Like, who's helping you figure all this out? I just threw a lot at you, but what's it been like?
Yeah. I mean, definitely, when I first got over here, I would say it took a good, probably 2-3 weeks just to kind of get everything situated. I was coming into this, they have everything taken care of. They get you an apartment, um, get you a car. I didn't have a car for a little bit, but they get you a car so you can go wherever. And more than your life outside of basketball is pretty much taken care of. Just like having to adjust. There's so many things that you have to, that you don't have available to you right away that you have just kind of have to figure out as you go. Within the team aspect, we have 6 Americans. 6 of our 12 guys are Americans. So our predominant language we speak is English. Our coach, he speaks English. I wouldn't say they're super fluent, but more than they can handle, addressing you and understanding your situations, how to play basketball, everything. So we pretty much speak English, which is, I think I got really lucky in that aspect. I don't know if there's only 2 Americans or 3 Americans on your team. It might be different, but for me, that's been one of the easier things to adjust to, is just because it's English, it's really applicable to me.
Had you been able to travel a lot overseas, Jack, before you went over to Italy to play professionally? I know some people that go over and play have experienced the world and gone out and seen a lot of things before. And some people, they go over to play professionally. That's the first time they get to experience international culture.
Yeah, for me specifically, I would only say my 3rd or 4th time leaving the country. When I was at Iowa, we did a foreign tour. My freshman year, we went to like Italy, France, Germany. I would say that's even not really like comparable to like living here. Living here, you have to go to like the grocery store. You have to, there's a million things at my apartment that I had to get, like utensils and everything for cooking. And so it's just more, you're just more immersed in it. You're like completely into it, instead of just, taking a day trip here to visit this place, to walk around. You eat out a lot, but we don't really eat out a lot. So just living is like, I would say it's almost completely different than just like traveling.
How would you describe the style of basketball that you're now currently playing compared to maybe college basketball? Everything from how the game is played to, the environments that you're playing in. You're coming from a situation where, 18 times at Cintas every year, you got to play in front of 10,250 fans that were super into it. What's the style like? What's the environment like over there?
Yeah, I would say there's not as many people. The arenas are a little bit smaller, but like the fans are still like super passionate. They're always up and yelling. I would say almost during the whole game, it's just like constant yelling. And a lot of times I don't really know what they're saying, but like it's just you're just immersed in it. And like, yeah, I would say just like the fans' passion is still there. Like we played a rival school, and they had this big like tarp tent that they put up over like the big fan section. And it was like this dude was holding like a head, like a chopped off head. And I was just like, what is even that? And it's just a big rival, like, and then like the fans come in and they're all yelling at each other, just saying a bunch of stuff. Like fans are definitely still passionate. And I think that's been cool, even though it's not, 10,000 every game, but it's still loud arenas, and some wild stuff still just happens.
Have you run into or played against any players that you knew from back here at home? Uh-oh, we lost him. Oh, no. There he is. He's back. You there?
Yeah. There's been several people, like this one team, this team that I'm actually talking about with the decapitated head that I was holding. It's called Pistoia. We played them this week, and they have a couple Big East guys, Ryan Hawkins and Charlie Moore. So those are guys who I played against when I was at Xavier. I guess just more like you see people who like you watched, I guess, kind of growing up, that play for some different teams. Obviously most of them are a lot older. I got pretty lucky to be in this situation. So I'm playing against guys who are 5-6 years older than me. So it's more, guys, but you don't really know them, but you watch them play. So that's kind of how your relationship is with them, I guess.
Jack, how does how does the progression work over there? Like, are you over there on, is this a 1-year contract? Is it a multi-year contract? Are there opportunities within your contract to maybe move up a league? Can you be traded? I think a lot of people might be
Yeah.
curious about how international basketball works from that standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there's one, set contract. Like me specifically, I've been on a 1-year deal here. But like I know a bunch of my teammates, like they can sign for 1 year, they can have a buyout in their contract so that, if another team wants them, they can get bought out. I don't really think, trades happen that much. But I've known a couple situations where like a player would be on loan. So they were with one team, they weren't really playing, but then they can loan them to another team if the injury happens or something like that. I know a couple other people, like they can sign like a 1+1, which means you have a 1 year and then you have an option for the next year if you want to go forward with it. But yeah, it's just really like, it depends on the situation. I feel like for me specifically, like I signed this deal because like of the opportunity, and then hopefully, this can, trampoline me into another situation where maybe I would sign for more years, or I guess it's really just, up to the opportunity, whatever presents itself, what the team wants, if they want you for more than 1 year, or if you want to stay there for more than 1 year. So it's really just kind of open-ended.
Taking a look back at last year, Jack, what do you think when you remember your time under Sean Miller and being able to play in the NCAA tournament, and even before that, the game-winning shot for you and the NIT and your experience at Xavier, but specifically as it relates to Sean Miller and what he instilled in you and that you've taken over here into your professional career? What are some of the things that you really feel like stick out from playing under him?
Yeah, I feel like it still is just like his compassion for the game, and how he was really able to get like the most out of me and our team, and just like playing as hard as you can every time you're on the floor, understanding what the team needs and just playing like the team game and just like giving your all out effort. I feel like those are like the things like I think about almost every single day about like Coach Miller last year, all of our staff last year, Coach Kettler, like the lessons that they taught me last year about how to be like a professional more. I feel like I would be a lot worse off if I hadn't been under them going through this experience overseas.
Now your brother is still on the team, Bob Nunge.
Yeah.
The only person who's ever declined an invitation to the Sean Miller podcast so far. But
yeah.
So I think that probably makes it easier for you to stay on top of what's happening with the current team. How often are you trying to watch games and still be involved, even though you're 6 hours different in time zone wise?
Yeah, I mean, definitely I follow the team, I follow every game. If it's a early game, that's like so perfect. Like they played against Providence this past weekend. I was able to watch that whole game. Some of the other games, like if it's a weeknight, that's at like, I don't know, sometimes the game's at like 2:30 my time. And like, yeah, we stay up late. Like I feel like we stay up to like 1, 2 sometimes, but like I have morning workouts at 8 a.m. the next day. And so that's not always the most ideal, being a professional and all, trying to rest my body. But yeah, I mean, every morning, if I'll wake up and just check the score, see how they do, look at the highlights. I'm trying to stay as much as I can, I guess, follow it. So.
When you look at the rotation of this year's team, Jack, I mean, so many new faces, 10 new faces on this team, 3 international players, but 6 freshmen. But Des Claude's really, from the rotation, your connection to this team from last year, which is very weird to say. I know the transfer portal and everything else that has changed in the college basketball landscape has made it to where this isn't totally abnormal, but to have this many new faces and this few returning minutes. Have you been able to keep up with Des specifically? Or I know maybe the connection between last year and this year is not the same as it maybe normally would be.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to, Des several times, which I think he's really has stepped it up this past month. He's playing really well, and that's kind of why you're seeing, the team is starting to take some strides in the right direction. But yeah, I feel like just following them, they're all still trying to gel, and until you go through some battles, some tough games, then you can really find out what you're made of. And so I think those early tests for them, they'll kind of reap the rewards as the season, winds down.
Jack, I think you being the first in this series, and a lot of people, I think Xavier fans are probably going to know what OKG means. Our kind of guy. It's something that Sean looks for in recruiting. And basically it's like, we're not going to necessarily pay attention to the ranking next to your name or this or that. We're looking for guys that are our kind of guys. And I think if you ask Sean, if you ask any of the assistants, you were a guy that more than fell into that category. What does OKG mean to you, and what does it mean to sort of be a part of everything that goes into that?
Yeah, I think for them, well, I guess for them and for me, an OKG is kind of like, I would say, like an everyday guy. So maybe an EDG. There's another one. An everyday guy, someone who what you're going to get out of him every day, who's going to be at their best every day, be the same guy every day, always focused on the team, always focused on, what can we do to improve, always trying to learn from everything that you learn through each and every day. And I think that, that was something that, like, I feel like he didn't even really have to recruit me. I knew whenever they hired Sean Miller, like, I want to play for that guy, I want to play for that coach and experience him. And that's something I'm forever grateful for.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit before this, and to wrap a bow on this, we really appreciate you coming on. You mentioned that your wife Bree has she's become a connoisseur of Italian cuisine. She's been cooking up a storm over there. What's your favorite meal that Chef Bree has put together so far?
Yeah, we have I would say we have maybe 10 to 15 different meals. They're not all Italian, but she's definitely really became a professional in that aspect. Like tonight we're gonna have some KFC chicken bowls with potatoes, some nuggets, some corn, some gravy. But we've had some pasta fresca, which is just pasta, chicken, spinach, tomatoes. That's one thing over here. I've actually became a veggie guy. I eat more veggies than I did ever before, which I think has been good for my health. She makes a really good vodka pasta with pasta, tomato sauce, tomato paste. She makes all kinds of food, and I think she's great at it. So I love it.
There you go. That's important. I'm trying to get Paul on the veggie train. It's a work in progress, though.
It's very much a work in progress. Hey, Jack, any tips for getting your brother on the pod?
I don't know. That might be a lost cause for me. It's hard enough for me and Bree to try to get him on a FaceTime, once a week. So a podcast, you might have your work cut out for you on that one.
Noted.
Maybe we bring in a video game system and set up Mario Kart, and that's how we get him. We just let him play video games the whole time.
Competition.
Jack, we really appreciate you taking a few minutes here today to talk. Thanks so much, and best of luck with the rest of your season. To you and Bree over there, from us and from all the Xavier fans listening, we wish you all the best, man.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for having me. This was awesome, and also just anytime you talk to someone in English, it's always a good reminder of home. So.
Yeah. And you got to let us know when you make it back stateside. We'll get you on the Sean Miller podcast. We'd love to see you.
Of course, I'll definitely be coming to Cincinnati next summer. So
awesome.
Great. All right. See you, Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
These are the types of players that fit us and the characteristics that allow them to be successful. OKGs, our kind of guys.